27 years of marriage looks like.
That's right.
Yes.
Our wedding anniversary on Friday,
Oh, what are you going to do? Was it this past Friday or it's coming up?
this past Friday, July
That's what I
18th
thought. Yeah, that's what
of
I
the
thought.
year.
What did y'all do?
For our anniversary, we just kind of hung out at the house and we swam in the pool and
Yeah,
thrift store and
nice.
did some thrifting, which is fun.
I love to thrift. Yeah.
So how's the baby?
Oh, she is so perfect. She is just gorgeous. Oh
Oh,
my gosh. I did not want to leave her. Oh, she was so sweet. And Emily, oh, bless her heart. I just remember that feeling. You get home from the hospital and you're just like, oh my God, I have to take care of a human.
yeah,
Nobody gives you an instruction manual. Ben's such a good daddy. I mean, he was changing diapers and they are just so sweet. It was so good.
yeah. They've really made a beautiful nest too for the baby.
Oh, yeah, it's like complete now. I'm so happy for them.
Our thrifting finds, so funny. I just love going and seeing what they have. I found one of those little refrigerators, that you can put your makeup in or your,
Like a beauty fridge, yeah.
yeah, beauty fridge. Was looking at them because I'm moving into my space tomorrow, my new space. I know, I
Exciting.
know, it's exciting. So I was looking at them on Amazon, and the one that I found that I really liked was 149, and I was like, I don't know, I don't just to keep my cold gloves cold, like I could just get up and go and get some ice
Yeah,
and.
ice, yeah.
So I didn't get it, but at the Goodwill here, uh, they had a fridge for $12. One of the
Perfect.
exact same one. I'm like, I
Yeah,
just looked at it the night before, which is so crazy.
so
That was
cool.
exciting. So that was a good thing. But then we also found the craziest thing, an urn, and I am not
Saw
kidding.
that and the
Yes.
thing,
Oh, yes.
yeah, the text message that you sent. I was like, I didn't know what it was at first, and I was like, I think that might be an urn.
Yeah, it really was. And I could not believe it. I was like, oh my gosh. So I went and got Austin and Olivia. And I'm like, is that what that is? And so he picks it up and looks. He was like, there's residue inside, but the lid was missing. So I guess like they just
They
had to let
lost Uncle Phil.
well, hopefully he's in a nice resting place somewhere.
Or
Beautiful.
maybe they scattered his ashes and then
Yeah.
lost the lid, and they were like, well, let's just take this to Goodwill.
Yeah. It's like, what the heck? And Goodwill actually put it on their shelf. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like, it's so
and didn't
bizarre.
even clean it out or anything.
Olivia did my makeup.
It looks gorgeous. She's doing a great job. She has a
Yeah.
future. She has a
Yeah.
future in the beauty industry for sure.
Yeah. I was thinking while she was doing my makeup, I'm like, gosh, she might carry on the reins one day and she can, run a spot
For
and
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
She can
that'd be
work for
great.
you.
Yeah. How's Bailey doing in school?
She loves it. She loves it. Every day she's sending me like a roller set or a braid she did, or she's just so excited. She loves it.
So she's doing the whole cosmetology
She's doing the
program.
whole cosmetology.
How is July in El Dorado? Is it busier
It's
now?
been slow. I mean, yeah, it's been slow. Yeah, I think it's been slow everywhere. I mean, we're not just like we still have our regulars because we do members, and so that part's fine that we do have the membership. But yeah, it is slow. So yeah, the J months will get you.
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing that we figured out in El Dorado. If anybody's
Mhm.
wondering like what we're talking about with the J months. So January, June, and July, for the most part, with independent spas, maybe not resort spas or dermatology offices so much, but your independent day spas, your independent people aren't traveling on vacation to go see you. Or in January, they've just had the holidays. So unless it's might be gift certificates coming in, which isn't bringing money in, but yeah, let's the day months will get you. You have to.
They- They're rough. You have to plan for them. That's all there is to it.
Exactly. Well, are you ready to get rolling?
I'm ready.
All right. So I guess we really need an intro. I mean, like we
So
had
I was
that
thinking
one.
that today. I was listening to Jay Shetty and his intro. Y'all need to listen to his intro. It's all these different people like announcing him like on stage. And so it's like, okay, Jay, and it's all these different accents and like different people. maybe do something like that. I really liked that. It's like an Australian person, Jay Shetty. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we could figure out something like that.
Yeah, we could. Let's do it. Let's try it right now.
Who's gonna say it? Pretty
I'll do a
smart
couple.
too.
Yeah, here, I'll do a couple.
My goodness, I don't think I have any funny accents other than just my regular Southern, my Southern lady that smokes too many cigarettes.
Thinking about opening your own beauty business? This week, Brandy and I are breaking down the essentials, writing a business plan, picking the perfect location, and yes, facing the bank. It's everything we wish we knew before starting. Now grab your iced coffee and let's get into it on Pretty Smart 2.
Hi, I'm Laura Barrow, licensed esthetician and owner of Laura's in Pasadena, California.
Brandy Kyle, licensed cosmetologist and owner of Kyle and Company in El Dorado, Arkansas and Little Rock, Arkansas. And together we
Together, we're
are
pretty
pretty
smart
smart
too.
too. Look at us.
Yay!
Got it together.
How are you doing today, Brandy?
I am well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. Getting ready to kick off this whole lovely episode about business, which is exciting.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about all the things to get started in your own spa business.
It's really interesting because I'm actually opening my own little spot right now. So it's kind of like our podcast work is reflecting on what I'm doing in real life. I'm researching things that I need to do here to open up, new business license and whatnot. I'm reading about it and remembering the things. So it's been kind of nice. It's like, oh, that's right. I forgot to do that.
Yeah, there's so many steps that you need to take. And so, yeah, this will be really nice and helpful as that you're doing it as we go. And I guess I just did it in Little Rock when we opened our second location. So it's easy, it's
Yeah.
fresh on our brain. So we can kind of make a to-do list for you
Yeah.
guys.
Yes, that's right. And I created, Brandy and I created a nice list to share with you that we're going to share at the end of today's episode. That'll be on our website as well as a nice little business plan that you can model your business plan after if you'd like. It's a P&L, something that you'd probably pay an accountant $200 or $300 for. We're going to give you today for free. Just for being a wonderful listener of ours. And, um, in the future, we'll probably make it where it's not free, as we'll be
Probably
consulting
so.
and
So
whatnot.
get in right
Yeah,
now.
get in while it's hot. Yeah. So,
We have to
yeah,
retire somehow.
exactly, exactly. So, that's just, I guess, hop right on into it and get started about, how you do go about. What was the first steps that you did when you were selecting or deciding on, how you were going to create your business, or what made you want to even go start a business? Why not just work for someone?
Yeah, and I did work for someone. I worked for you, and then I worked for another owner that came into the spa that we were at, and I enjoyed that. I just felt like I had gotten to a point where I had enough clientele that I could do something on my own, and it was always a dream of mine. And so I really wanted to take that next step and kind of figure out some things on my own that I wasn't happy in the place that I was at. And so I could change some things. And I'll never forget I had a good friend that was also a client at the time, and she had opened up her own retail business. And so she had a little boutique. And we just got to talking one day, and I said, "How did you do this? Like, how do you get started, opening your business?" And she said, "I've got a binder I can bring you." And I said, "A binder? What do you mean?" And she said, I literally went through everything that you have to do to open a business, and I put it in there, and I've got dividers. And so she had like Secretary of State, and this is what you do to do that. That, your EIN number, this is what you got to do that. I mean, and it was all so organized. And she brought me that binder. And that binder has been passed down to four more people who have started businesses from that. which is just crazy. And it was so helpful to me. And I just think back, I mean, yes, I could have called you, but you were busy in California and doing your thing. And, so it was nice to just have that. And so I think that's what we're creating between the two of us that we can offer to people that are looking, because it was so helpful, like I said, just to have all of that, because there are so many steps. And if you miss one little step, you could be really messed up with the IRS for,
Yeah.
and even if you file the wrong, if you're a LLC or if you're a sole proprietor, or there's just so many different loopholes that you could fall into if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We actually got audited. Have been in business for 7 or 8 years when the spa got audited, and thank goodness I had kept every little thing exactly in order, and I never, I'm not bragging or anything, but I never cheated on my taxes. Never
Yeah.
did. I had employees that, I mean, yeah, not to hopefully people don't really, do this, but I know that, a lot of people think, well, you've got it's cash business and whatever, you just don't report things. Well, when you run, like we have employees and everything goes through a register, and you just don't, we're not doing that. But I guess there are a lot of people in the industry that
Oh,
do.
in
And
this industry, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, because
yeah,
it could be a cash business if you wanted to make it that.
yeah.
But that's really scary, and be really careful if you think that you're going to get away with that, because you can't get away with it forever.
No. And so we got audited, and thank goodness. I mean, it was like not nothing. There's like a little $500 something that wasn't accounted for exactly perfectly. So we ended up owing like $120. So it was like this ridiculous. And,
No
it was
big
like
deal.
all of this
Yeah,
work that this poor lady did to, go through all of our books. And, that's what, thank goodness that's all we owed. So, but
for sure.
yeah, so you have to definitely, you want to keep up with everything for sure, for sure. And then, another reason to do everything accurately is if you go to sell your business. So then when we went to sell Spa on Main, if we wouldn't have had all of those taxes to show the income of the spa, to the P&Ls to show, yeah, if we would have
You
just,
wouldn't have been able to get anything. I mean, what
no, it
can you
would,
prove that you have, or how much income did you make? If you were a total cash business, be prepared
exactly.
to always be in it, because you can't sell it because you have no proof of what you've actually earned.
Yes.
So
So
yeah,
getting
that is
started,
so
really,
important.
yes, think about those things for sure. We've actually looked at a couple of places to purchase, and that has been an issue. They can't show what they're bringing in. I mean, they're wanting several $100,000 for businesses that look like they don't make any money. And it's like, yeah, no, no thanks. I don't, I need proof. I need to make
Yeah,
sure, I
yeah,
don't want to do
that's too
everything.
risky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
So yeah, so getting into doing a business plan, that's so helpful that your friend was able to help you like that. I know that there are some resources out there. Of course, there's lots of books out there, and there's lots of like websites, and you can find good checklists and whatnot. And then today we'll actually are going to create one for you guys, or have one created already for you guys that will be on our website. So that'll be great for you to have. There are also one thing when I started Smile Maine that they had in our town at the community college, that an incubator project where you
Oh
could
yeah,
go
they were
in.
helpful with me too. Yeah.
Yes, very helpful. And they really help like women in business and helping people to create, and kind of gave you a nice place to go. So I definitely highly recommend, contacting your local community college, maybe even your local cosmetology school would be able to kind of point you
Mhm.
in the direction of, oh, when our students graduate, they usually reach out to this school or this accountant or this attorney to help them along the way. So yeah, and one thing to be careful of is the scams, though. There's a lot of online scams, especially,
So
that are like, yes, pay us this money and we get you your tax ID, and we get you your business license. You don't need that. It's very easy to do on your own. It's very simple. It's not as complicated as where you have to actually pay an online service a lot of money for creating these entities and whatnot. So, yeah.
I feel like once you create your LLC and you go online with the Secretary of State, you start getting a whole lot of scam mail and like in the mail, and it'll say, okay, now that you're registered, now you owe this fee or you owe this. So be really careful with all of that kind of stuff. There should not be any additional fees that should be coming to you, especially through mail. That's usually not going to be a thing at all. So just be
Exactly.
really careful because it will look very legit.
Yeah, it does look legit. You can actually reach out to people and just ask to call the Secretary of State's office and say, "I got this in the mail," and they'll just straight up they'll say that's a scam. I actually did kind of fall for one and bought one of those huge posters that's got like minimum wage and
Yeah, I
all the
remember
laws, which
that.
most businesses have them. So I just figured I
Yeah.
needed it. And then somebody told me, like, no, you don't really need that. Like, everything's online now. You don't have to have that. So I reached out actually to the Secretary of State, was like, do I really not need this? And they're like, no, everything's online now. So, which I mean, you do want to reach out to your
Yeah.
whichever
Yeah.
state you're in to find
Whatever
out the
state you're
laws.
in.
One thing that we'll have on our website is our as a good little P&L that'll have, you know, how you literally go through and create like a menu of services, how much you charge for, say, a facial, eyebrow wax, all that. You kind of do a guesstimate. I'm going to have 4 eyebrow waxes in a week, and I'm going to do 10 facials in a week, and you can figure out. And so we've created this nice um, Excel document actually that will you can go in and kind of see it takes the guesswork out. It's really nice. It does the math for you, which
For
is
sure.
nice. So yeah, so you guys can get that at the end of the show today. The next step is
Location and what can I afford? That was really important. So when I was looking at what I was going to charge for my services, I needed to know what my expenses were going to be first. Really, I feel like you need to know that first, and then you can kind of come up with your price list. And so I and this is all just crazy. I mean, and I when I say it out loud, it is crazy, but I had such a vision of this building. I mean, every time I drove by, it was a jewelry store, and it's right across the street from a new hotel that was built here in our town, and it's a Hilton property. It's a Tapestry hotel by Hilton. And so every time I drove by this corner, I just pictured it. I could see my logo. I could see Kyle and Co. Like I could see the whole thing. It's really cool. On the corner, there was a huge lighted sign for the jewelry store that said Cole's Jewelry, and I could literally, it was black and white too, though it's a white building, and it's like a stucco building. It's an ancient building. It's probably been here close to 100 years, and it was an old revenue office here. But yeah, I mean, just you really have to manifest things, and you have to have a vision. And you really have to be able to look at something and see it as you're going to have it designed. Kind of look past, because you may walk into, depending on where you are, I mean, a lot of cute, quaint towns are older towns. So when you walk into the building you're going to lease or buy, it's gonna be old, and you're gonna have to see past all that and just have a vision. And so, like with this being a jewelry store, I mean, it's just a wide open space. And so I thought, how in the world are we gonna make this into a treatment rooms and, make this into a spa? And so you just really have to use your imagination. So there was an office space in here with a vault because it was a jewelry store. And I thought, and so I talked to the landlord and I said, "Are we going to be able to take the vault out?" And he said, "No, ma'am, that would cost a lot of money unless you have about 10 grand to do that with," which I did not. So I thought, well, we're just gonna, you just have to roll with it. And now it's just a cool story. When people come in, they're like, "Oh, I'm getting a massage in here. Are you gonna lock me up in the vault?" And we just laugh. And then there was a break room, a little tiny break room in here, that had a bathroom in it. And I thought, you know what? That can be a facial room. I mean, you just really have to use your imagination. And then we had a builder that came in and built this behind me. This is a mobile wall that can be moved. And so we can reconfigure this room to be anything. Laura's come in and done a makeup demonstration during our film festival here. We've had bunko parties, and we've had little girl parties. And I mean, it's good to do like transitional things like that so that you can rework the space as you grow.
yes, yeah,
But anyway, so yeah, I think the next step, or if not the first step, your business plan and then your location probably is
yeah.
good.
yeah, business plan, and even dreaming and deciding, okay, what is it that really seeing what you want in your life, like you just said, manifesting. That's so important.
For
Um,
sure.
we've talked in previous episodes about how we wanted to do this our whole life, how we wanted to do it, how we just kept,
Yeah.
thinking about it and created vision boards and created scrapbooks and like your friend had created like a notebook,
Yeah.
opening a place. You do those things and all of that, it's at one point you think about, where you are right now in life. I've heard people say this, I'm at this point and at one point I was praying for to be here,
Yep.
and to be grateful
That's
for
so
what you prayed
important.
for. Yeah, you
Yes.
you have created, where you are, and if you don't want to be here, start thinking about where you want to be.
What's the next? Yeah, don't feel
Exactly.
stuck ever. You're not stuck. Anybody can
Yeah.
pick up and move on to the next chapter. It's just a
Yeah.
chapter in your life. I mean, it's all life is just like a book. It's just different chapters.
Yeah, and you can literally create the next one if you just really have to think about it. It's not going to be exactly the way you thought, but
No,
yeah, yeah,
it's
there's
usually
something.
so much better. In my experience, it's so much better. It's like it's not exactly how I expected it to be, but it's so much better because it just all comes together and works out.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, that's exactly
yeah.
right. Yeah. When we were, I was pregnant with Olivia and, found this location. It's very similar. Kept driving by a location and knew that the person that was in it was retiring and they were going to leave. It was that really cute little business in El Dorado. For a long time, we had candles, smell
Was it
goodies.
smell goodies?
Those
Yes, I
smell
remember
goodies.
that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So cute. It was so cute. And
Yeah.
it smelled so good. And I tell you, Spa on Main still smelled like smell goodies.
Yeah,
Like
forever it did. Yeah.
forever. I could
Yeah.
still smell it.
I
Before
know.
that, it was a pet store, and they had put that they had like all these aquariums. So some of the plumbing was already done. So that was a nice little serendipity. That
Yeah.
was already done for us because I needed the fish tanks there. And then we had before that, it was the El Dorado house, and I had uh, where the facial rooms are. That's where the shoot apartments. They had all these cute little. I wanted to keep them so bad. These cute little cutouts where they could put little shoes, but I just couldn't imagine what to put there. So we ended up having to, pull that out and put in walls. But it's interesting how you imagine things and, um, I just, I'm from El Dorado and my whole family's from there. So, my grandmother used to shop at the El Dorado house and I would get real nostalgic. Sometimes we'd walk up into the attic and, I guess that's where someone at one point had an office and they had a cute little built-in
Yes.
desk and, they had written little notes to themselves on the drywall, and it was this pretty little handwriting, it's obviously a lady's handwriting, just real pretty little fluffy writing with people in Eldorado's phone numbers written
Oh,
down and people's names that I recognized from years
that's
ago.
so cool.
It was so
Yeah.
cool. I just loved that.
Yeah.
Loved that about
Mhm.
having that spot so much. Yeah, picking out your location it's so important. Some of the things I've read about, visiting different time of the day, going in the morning and seeing
Oh, yeah.
what the foot traffic's like, going in the evening, in the afternoon, when the weather's different, is also kind of a good, just to kind of get an idea.
Sunlight.
Yes, how the
Seeing when the
sunlight.
sunlight, like I know here at 5 o'clock here, I mean that sun is hot and it comes in right through that window right there.
Yes.
So yeah, just yeah, seeing all of that, that is a really good tip because I didn't do that in the beginning. I mean, I only got to come inside this building twice before I said, yes, I want it, which was terrifying. I was just like, what if I bit off? And there was literally carpet in here. I mean, there was it wasn't a whole lot to do, but we did have to paint and we had to get rid of the carpet and I only had a very small amount of money. Um,
Yeah.
so kind of consider that all of that stuff too whenever you go to your bank. So,
Yes.
you know what back bar products you're gonna need. You know that you're gonna need, enough money to get started. Basically, you want to have some money in the bank because you're gonna have to pay people, and then you're gonna have your construction costs. I guess that's one thing I've learned along the way, especially when I opened the second location, was to borrow more than I actually felt like I needed. Because when I got started, of course, when I got started, I'm sure that's probably all I could get, so I just had to roll with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to really consider all of those things so that you're not left kind of feeling like, man, I should have really got more.
That's really good advice. That's a very good point, to have a buffer for sure, because I know at this spot we always wanted to have, whatever it is, that amount of money, at least like a couple of payrolls in the bank.
Yes.
We wanted
Yeah.
that. We had employees have at least that much just kind of always there. And if when we didn't, so that was the month we were very, we didn't order as much. That's some months that we might be running out of a couple of products kind of quick. And, not that you want to
Yeah.
do that, but, you have to be really thoughtful of
Sometimes
that.
you have to be creative. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, we went one time to the bank to get a little extra money because I would just to have a buffer, just for the buffer, because I was like,
Mhm.
oh, you
It's
know,
so stressful when you don't. It's so
uh,
stressful because it's a whole new level when you're responsible for somebody else's family's dinner. That's the way
yes,
I look at
exactly.
it. I'm like, if something goes wrong, I mean, and stuff has. I mean, we're all human and we're small business. So yeah, there's
Yeah,
been glitches with our software system in direct deposit or, whatever. And that is the worst feeling in the world
yeah,
when you feel like you've done something, even though it wasn't your fault, but you you just knowing that your employees may not eat dinner, that's just an awful feeling. So you don't want to let that ever be an issue.
yeah, yeah.
But
You
it
wanted to,
happens. It does happen. It's common and it does happen. So if it is happening to you, don't feel like you're a total loser and a total failure. It's just a way to learn what not to do next year. So like
yeah,
we were talking about the J months, those are the
yeah.
months where those things can happen. Because you get so low, your bank account gets so low and you're just like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And so those things you just prepare better next year.
That's exactly right. One thing we talked about off the air a couple weeks ago, or gift cards. That this kind of brings that back into play. I know we're talking about starting a business, but once you get a business going, you do kind of have to keep it running. So, and at the beginning, you need to think about this with the gift cards. You had a good piece of advice with that. Do you want to share what that was?
Oh, yeah. So, our first month in business was December. So December is going to be most everybody's going to that's going to be your biggest month. I mean, it's Christmas. And what people are doing is they're buying gift cards and you're thinking, wow. So our first month in business, we sold enough gift cards to pay off the loan I had just borrowed. So I'm talking lots of money in gift cards. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we have all this money. I mean, we are just banking. And so we're spending that money. And I'm just, we're just spending and we're paying off people. And I'm like, we are really rolling. This is going to be amazing. Well, I wasn't really factoring in that in January, which is your first J month, so nobody's spending money with you that month, and everybody's coming in to use those gift cards. So you're still paying out all of your employees, and there's no income coming in. So I learned a very hard lesson that very first month in business. So you want to be careful with that. You really, really, and I still am not there. I wish I was, but I'm still not there. I've done better with it, but really what I need to do is put all, and this is what I keep reading, is it all needs to go into a savings account. And then you pay yourself as the person comes in. It's very hard to do because you've got all that money and you're like, well, I need to pay the bank this loan back and I need to pay the electric bill and it's and then we've got a huge gas bill because it's winter and we can't be cold and there's just oh, it's time to order ZO again, and so there's all these things coming at you, and you have to just be really good at balancing all that. You can't just think, and especially for somebody like me that doesn't come from money. I mean, I've never been good with money because I was never taught how to be good with money, and that's common. That's like so many people. I mean, unless you just grew up really wealthy, of course you don't know how to manage it. So you have to kind of figure these things out as you go. So
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
That would definitely be my advice, and like I said, I'm still not good at it. I wish I was better. I wish that every time somebody came in to buy a gift certificate, if I could just move that money over. And Square makes it real easy to move money from account to account. And they even do like a savings account for you that you can factor in the percentage, and it'll take, that day's sales. If you want to put 20% back every single day of your sales, you can do that. And I would highly recommend getting that started from day one. Just don't ever let yourself feel like, oh, I have access to that money. Because once you do, it's hard not to keep going back to that. It becomes a habit.
Yeah, yeah. So that's such good advice. And I think in the planning stages, before you ever go to the bank, before you ever do any of that, this is part of your, like you said, your notebook or your vision board. Well, it's now we're past vision board, but more it's like your notebook. It's what your plan is. As much as you can foresee, as much as you can plan for in the future, do definitely, read those books,
Yeah.
take some business
Mhm.
classes. If you are going to one of the shows, one of the beauty shows, they have some really good business classes. I took
Mhm.
one in Vegas that was extra money. I think it was like $350, which at the time I was like, I would much rather go learn the lash lifts than do this business
Yeah.
class for 2 days. Like, come on. But I went and did that. And I'm so grateful I did because, oh my God. And I'd already been in business for several years, but I was like, if I would have known, that would have saved me so much
Exactly.
money and time and
It's
headache. And
and time and worry. Like, I mean, that worry, that feeling of waking up at 3 a.m. and just being like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do all this? How am I gonna get all this done? Like, how is this, it's so that's the worst part of it. I mean, there's no dollar sign on a peace of mind. This I've come to know. Zach Brown was right. That is like that goes through my head all the time. I'm like, yes, peace of mind is just so important when you're in
yeah,
business. Could be because it's
yes.
very hard to just relax and let it work itself out.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard. And that's one thing I was thinking about today too. Actually, while Olivia was doing my makeup, my daughter did my makeup. She did a great job.
It looks amazing.
I think she did such a good job. She's so
You
sweet.
did so good. She's so
She's
talented.
she's a sweet pea, but she's doing my makeup. And I was sitting there with my eyes closed and thinking about how that is important just to go, like, do things like exercise, meditation, just take a break for yourself and think. That's another part of planning your business is just taking time because your mind, you need to take care of yourself. Self-care. You have to take care of yourself. You can't just beat yourself up about every little thing. Step number 3 would be going to the bank, When we first went to the bank, we handed over the little sheet that had and my sheet wasn't as good as yours. It doesn't sound like I didn't have a full notebook. I just had like a couple pages that we had done up on the computer, and I had a spa menu, and I didn't have a name for my business. I didn't have a name for I was like, but I had, I knew that I wanted what I want. I knew that I wanted higher end services, that sort of thing. So, we had, how much the different services cost and how many we thought we would do and whatnot. And we handed it over, and the person was like, you have too much product. You have too much product. You can't, we're not going to fund this because you need more services and less product. So even though I wanted to have more product in our location,
Yeah,
I'm glad that I didn't because I will tell
I
you,
know.
as soon as we opened, that's when the internet went just like people were
Yes.
just shopping
Yeah.
online.
Ev- Yeah.
And we did great with product, but we definitely added another treatment room. That's when I
Mhm.
decided to bring in another esthetician. We were just going to be myself and a massage therapist, but we decided to add the another esthetician, and it did. It made all the difference. The banker was right.
Mhm.
Imagine that. They do math
Yeah.
and they know.
They
They
know what
know.
yeah, they definitely know what they're talking about.
Yeah. So when we went back,
Yeah.
we had more. It was like 70% service driven and 30% product driven. And that was about right. When products did over time, depending on the product line, some product lines do better than others. But definitely your income source comes from those services in our industry. So at least
Oh,
for
for
me,
sure.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
So
yeah. Yeah, and so that that's what I was thinking today. I have time on Sundays. I drive home 2 hours from Little Rock every Sunday, and so I have all this time to think about the podcast before we come on Sunday nights. And so today, that's what I was thinking. Well, I was actually listening to another podcast, and they were talking about every no that you receive in life is so fruitful because it does make you think about, okay, I need to do that differently. And it helps you along the way. So for me, it was not that easy. I didn't have one no. I had probably 5 to 7 no's. I'm not even real sure at this point. And I got to the point where I was asking anybody that I knew that could help me. I went to every bank in town and, so the first one that I went to, they were just like, no, I was a single woman. So first of all, I was a single mom, 2 kids. I have Bailey, who at the time was 16, and then Blaine was probably like 11. And so I'm raising these 2 kids by myself. I'm recently divorced. So my credit is not in a good place at all. And so I kept going and I had my binder and I had all my ducks in a row. I had done everything I knew to do to have that so good to maybe they're not going to really look at my credit score. At the end of the day, unfortunately, in 2020, that was 2021, but really ever since 2010, a credit score does matter. I mean, that's all they look at, really. I mean, they want to see that you have all of your ducks in a row, but at the end of the day, they are going to look at that credit score. So if your credit score is not somewhere between 690 and 750, you're probably not even going to get considered. And so that's what I kept hearing. They were just like, that's just not going to work for you. You don't have the credit score. They would all say, you have everything else though. And we appreciate how neat and nice everything looks. But there's just no way. And so I just kept, and then I would go back to work, working for somebody else and just be in that treatment room. And I would just come up with another plan. Okay. Well, what if I wonder if I call this person who can maybe be an investor, and that would fall through. And then finally, I went to a local bank. And your local small banks are the best to go to. They will help you more than your bigger banks because they want to see the community thrive. They want to see, all of that. So, and they want to see, obviously young entrepreneurs stay in the area instead of moving off. So that's going to be more likely. And so finally, a small local bank, I went in there and I said, I know you're going to say no. I said, I really am like so nervous to even come in here right now because I've been told no by so many people. But here's what I have. And on that last trip, something that I did add from that I didn't have in my binder before was a list of every client that I had done that year. Everybody that I had done even a brow wax. I had a list of every single thing. And I asked the owner of the spa that I was with, she knew I was trying to open my own place. So I didn't do anything deceitful. And I would encourage you to do the same. Don't be deceitful and go behind their back or anything like that. But there are reports that any spa that has software can print out. And so she did that for me. She printed out everything that I had. And we just looked at it and looked at what I was making for someone else. And when I took that to that banker, he said, I mean, if you're doing this for somebody else, yeah, this is a no-brainer. So yeah, I'm gonna take a chance on you. And he did. He took a chance on me and he asked me if I did have any family members that had a higher credit score that could co-sign with me. And I did. And so that is how I got my first loan to start my first business. And the amount was not probably what you think it is. It was less than six figures to start my first business. And so yeah, we've been open almost 3 years and we're doing great, rocking and rolling. And we had an opportunity to start our second location in Little Rock. And so now we're on week 3 of that, and starting that in a J month has been really interesting. So I could say that y'all are getting to learn from all of my mistakes for sure. I would not recommend opening your first or second location in a J month. Honestly, for me, like I said before, December was great because you are so busy that month. And so it just kind of it pushes you along to that next step. And December's revenue can get you through until you get ready for February, which is your next big bump that's coming with Valentine's Day. Yeah. And so don't let all those no's, just don't stop. Don't stop until you get a yes. And because, I mean, at the end of the day, what's the worst that can happen? You get really good at hearing no. And so you get really good at coming up with why it should be a yes. And that's even true when you start with these clients. I mean, you're going to talk to lots of clients that are going to say, "No, I don't want eyelash extensions," or "No, I don't see what the point is of facial or anything like that." So from all those no's that you've received, you get really good at convincing people on why it should be a yes.
Yeah.
And
That's
everything you
really
do.
That's exactly right. That's so good. That's so good.
And I
That's perfect.
appreciate everything so much more. I mean, I can't imagine if I would have just been able to just go to the first bank and they were like, "Yes, you can have as much money as you want. You can do whatever you want with it." I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
That
really
would be
think that
nice.
I would have worked this hard, or, I feel like now I've worked so hard to get it. I appreciate it so much more. And I just feel like I'm so grateful to remember. And I do. I mean, you do have to stop. Everybody does. And you have to stop every day and say, what look around, like, this is me. Like, I can't believe it most days. I'm like, I can't believe it. Sometimes I'm like, I met a woman this morning at breakfast, and Yancey is so amazing. My husband is amazing at, like, he is my biggest cheerleader. And so everywhere we go, I'll say, "Yeah, I just own this little spa." And he's like, no, actually my wife owns 2 spas, and they're not little, they're a pretty big deal, and he'll really back me up. But that was another thing that I heard on the podcast coming home this afternoon was, if you make yourself small, or if you make what you're doing small, others will as
Yeah.
it's not small. Like, whatever it
No.
is that you're doing, even if you're working 1 day a week in a treatment room in a salon, it's still a big deal, and it's your big deal, and you need to treat it like that, or other people won't. This is a big deal, and this is my livelihood, and this is what supports my family, so it is a big deal. So, and
Yeah.
I've got to do a better job of that. Even this podcast has really made me realize how bad I have imposter syndrome. Like, Laura, texted me last week. She's like, "Brandy, you've got to start sharing this. You got to share this on your Facebook page." And the thought of that, I was like, "Oh, we didn't talk about this. Y'all didn't tell me this ahead of time. I've got to promote myself now. And now I've got to be like this influencer, and I've got to I've got to be this podcaster on top of everything else."
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how bad that was going to make me feel. Like, I was so scared to do it. I was so scared. And I came to work last Tuesday, and Raven, that I work with, who's our marketing person, and she's amazing. She's our marketing coordinator. She's amazing. And she's just a very positive person. And we were in the break room, and I said, "I just didn't, I'm embarrassed." She was like, "Stop right there, Brandy." She said, "Poor people stay poor because they worry about what other poor people are thinking of them." I was like,
Very good. She's
"Thank you for that.
wise. Yeah.
Thank you for that."
Mhm.
I needed to hear that. And you know what? I don't want us to be poor anymore. I've been poor my entire life, and I'm ready to not have to worry about how I'm going to pay my bills. So so now I am looking at it completely different. Am I perfect? No, not by any means. Am I am I ever going to get used to this? I don't know. But I've come a long ways just this is our 3rd episode, and I feel like I've come so far. And if we can help just a few people, then we've done our job, because there wasn't anything like this. And I've looked, I mean, like, I've typed in all kinds of how to start a spa business, how to do, there's just really not a lot out there. So
There's not a lot.
I'm glad that we're getting to do this, and we're getting to help people. And I hope that people, like me, or, can say, oh, well, if she did it, then, I mean, she came from nothing. And I did. And I tell people that because I want people to know that. I want people to know that, no, I've never had anything. I worked very hard to do this. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
okay, I got off my soapbox.
Yeah. I'll say one of the reasons that opened the spa in El Dorado was to find my people, because I had lived in California for so long working in spas, and I really wanted, I find my people there. I find people that are interested in health and well-being and having a little bit of fun, not making life so stressful. One of the reasons that are probably the biggest reason that I ever wanted to do this in the first place, because I was raised by a single mom, and she was always so stressed out and had a very, very stressful job. She worked for the state. She worked actually with people with food stamps and trying to keep all those people fed. And then she also worked with the Child Protective Services. Several times in the middle of the night, she would get phone calls, that she would go with the police to get kids from families, parents had just been arrested or whatever. And her job was so stressful. And I always thought, I don't want to have a job like that. I want a job where I can go home and I can be happy.
Mhm.
So that's, I got really, it wasn't luck, like I don't believe in luck. None of
No,
this
I
is
don't believe in luck. It's
none
hard
of it's
work.
luck.
It's hard
Yeah, it's
work. But at the
mm,
end of the day, we get to make people feel good from the inside out. And that's
that's right.
so rewarding at the end of the
Yeah,
day. And that's why we do it. That's exactly why we do it. We don't do it to get
exactly.
rich. We're not looking for any kind of attention or anything like that. Literally, that's all I want to do at the end of the day is help people. And now I'm getting to do it in this format, which is really cool to me because I'm getting to help other professionals in this industry that can start their own business. And it may not be something that they ever thought was in their cards, just like I didn't think it was in mine.
When we first started sharing stuff, at first I thought we were just gonna. It's funny. We were when we started planning it. I was like, "Oh, podcast will be recording our voices. It's like radio. It'll
Yeah.
go." And then when we started looking into it, and it's like, "Oh no, you have to record." And then eventually, we probably need to start doing lives. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What? Are you kidding? Like we have to do all of
I
that?"
know. I
But
know.
but the response so far has been so positive. My friends out here
Thanks.
in California and
Yes.
some of the estheticians that I work with and have just messaged and said, "Oh, I loved it. It was so good." And some
Same
of
here.
our
I will say
friends,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Lots of
uh,
people. And thank
yeah,
y'all.
so fun.
Thank y'all for the kind words. And we
Yes,
need
thank
more of
you.
that. We need more of that feedback to keep us going because you know how the negative can outweigh the positive sometimes. So please, thank you so much to all of you that have sent us really sweet text messages and just even little messenger, whatever it is. We appreciate it.
Oh,
I do have to mention my son, Blaine. So Blaine is my 16-year-old son. And when I drove home today, I came in and the fire alarm was going off in our little apartment that we moved to. So the fire alarm is going off. It's so loud and I panic. I pull in and I'm in full panic mode. And he runs outside and hugs me and he's got Maggie, our dog. And he's like, "It's okay, Mom. It's okay. It's just another neighbor burn a steak and it's fine. Everything's fine." But I mean, just that. Oh my gosh. And so while we were standing there waiting on the fire truck came and everything and they, put out all this, it was just smoke. It was no fire. Anyway, but while we were waiting, he said, "Oh, I meant to tell you, I saw your podcast." And I said, "Oh, you did?" And I said, "Well, what'd you think?" And he was like, "You did a really good job. I'm really proud of you." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, that just melted my
so
heart,
sweet.
because you
Yeah,
don't think that your kids are, I mean, like I said, I mean, 3 weeks ago, I didn't think anybody would see this. I was like you, like, "Okay, we'll do this podcast and people will just listen to us.
yeah,
Maybe 5 people will listen to us." I had no idea it was gonna be like this. And so it's been
yeah,
really cool. And to hear your kids say that, and of course, Bailey shared it immediately and was like, so Bailey's my 21-year-old daughter who's in cosmetology school right now. She shared it and she said, "I couldn't be more proud of my mother." And I'm just like, oh my God, that's awesome. That is
yeah,
just, I mean, so
yeah.
the right people are supporting us. And so that's
That's
really at the end
exactly
of
right.
the day, all that matters.
This week, we're not going to do the tip of the week. We're going to do it a little different. We're going to do an affirmation. And the affirmation is I'm building a business that reflects my passion and purpose. Look in the
Love that.
mirror, say that over and over again, and go for
That's
it.
right. That's right. I love it.
Well, thank you, Brandy. I was wonderful talking to you today, as
Love
always.
it. This is so fun. This is really just like talking to my best friend and getting to see you. So this is great.
Yes. Yeah. Well, have a wonderful rest of your week, everyone. And thank you so much for listening to Pretty Smart too.
Thank you. Bye. We're killing it. We're so good.